want to get into riding, either road, mountain, riding with the grandkids, riding with some buddies, whatever the case may be, just get some exercise and the fresh air. It is a wonderful sport to get into. But if you found yourself going to a bike shop and found out the bikes are really kind of pricey, not too expensive for you, and B, again, a little too pricey and a little too much for you to get into, well, that's going to put you in the used market if you want to get into cycling. Hopefully that doesn't deter you. So here, hey, welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles. Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. Hi, I'm Justin, the guy. Obviously, I have a garage shop. Taking scary out of used bikes one bike at a time. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. Hey, welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with the guy. I'm Justin, the guy, and I'm here to help you take the scary out of used. I do it in my own business. I find and refurbish these bikes and provide good solid bikes for people to get into road riding. And unfortunately, if you're not close to my neighborhood neck of the woods and you're looking for something else, this is definitely going to help you out. There's top 5 things. Well, actually, there's 2 top 5 things to look for. The first list is communications with the seller. Either they're selling it on eBay, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, whatever the case may be, they're going to have a listing and some pictures. Don't hesitate to ask at least these 5 questions. And if they have some pictures on there, you might want to ask for more pictures. But what I've seen out there, there's usually not a very good representation of what there is there. So anywho, let's start off on the first top 5 list of communicating with that seller. Well, number 5 is, are they the original owner? That's going to be a big one, because if they're the original owner, they're going to have the history of the bike, records of the bike, and the bike's probably been fitted to them. If it's the second owner or third, those get kind of muddled in the waters. So if the original owner, that's definitely a good source to go by. Don't be turned away by if it's the second owner, as long as they had some history with it and actually rode it for a while and possibly had it serviced. That actually kind of will help these next questions to be fulfilled. But yeah, I try to buy bikes from original owners. Sometimes it's not always the case because the bike is more worth than that scary, but it definitely helps out for sure. Yeah, number 4, what size is it? That is something that if it's original owner, they're going to know the size. They can measure the frame. Sometimes they have a frame sticker on there. If it's not in the description, just definitely email them on what size it is. If it is the original owner, that's a good chance that that bike, they'll know the size of the bike in addition to who rides it. And as the person that's riding it, they probably were fitted to that particular bike. So size is really key to a lot of riding, and definitely need to know the size. And number 3 is service. Does it have service records? Has it been serviced? That's a good question. If they are the original owners, they probably had its original tune-ups done and they had it had in a bike shop to work on a regular basis. That's also definitely in a wind column. Doesn't matter if it is used and if it is the second owner, if they have it serviced, definitely ask for that receipt, because most bike shops will have a receipt to provide, and that will validate the actual work on it and the condition. Definitely. Don't say like, oh, I just tuned it up myself. You may not know if that person's actually a good mechanic like me, or just somebody that thinks they know they're a mechanic. Let's take the scary out of that. So number 2 of the questions you should ask is, how old is it? What year is it? If the original owner, they're going to know. Other than that, you're going to have to do some searching to figure out how old it is by componentry and the frame, and that can get kind of really questionable. You kind of want to know how old it is, because some of those situations where if it's pretty old, it may need a lot more extra work and may need more parts to replace, especially if they don't have receipts to show any kind of service that was done onto the bike. And number 1 for asking questions before going to see it is it ready to ride? Can I get on this bike and ride it? Is the tires aired up? Does it shift? Is it ready to ride? Is it able to adjust the seat for my height? Those are kind of the questions you want to field to make sure you are prepared to go out there and actually have the best experience possible of getting a good bike for you to ride. So it's got to be test rideable. If it's not test rideable, it's not worth riding or buying or whatever the case may be. Pardon the interruption, there is more. More you say? Push the more button. Push it. Push it. I dare you to push it. Once you push that button, you get more details about the video you are watching, in addition to all the tools that I use in the shop, as well as suggestion for improving your ride. In addition to help me provide advocacy in the cycling community, also links to other social media accounts as well as my website to find the products I actually sell and other insights in the industry. Other videos linked below. Extend your cycling experience here on YouTube. And now back to your original programming. Okay, we went over the first 5 things you want to actually field the questions of the potential seller from eBay, Craigslist, or what have you. Well, that'll definitely drive it down to a select few, and then you're about ready to pull the trigger and go out there to see it. Reason why I come up with this is you don't want to waste their time, you don't want to waste your time. Time is very valuable. You definitely don't, because you gotta like communicate, figure out a place to meet, all those kinds of things. Definitely, if you field those questions, that'll cut out a lot of headache. Then you can go on to the next potential bike out there that you'd be looking for. So here, the 5 things you want to look for when you're actually seeing the bike. Number 5 is the frame and fork. You want to make sure these are, pretty good shape. But before that, you want to do your research and make sure you're looking at the right bike for your kind of riding. Is it gravel bike riding, road riding, hybrids, that kind of thing? Because the frame and fork actually will dictate what kind of riding you're going to be getting into. And that's what distinguishes between the different bike brands and how they feel. So the frame and fork is a huge part of this, and you want to make sure you inspect it, because if there's something damaged with this frame and fork, you basically have a box of parts and you're back to the drawing board, and hopefully that doesn't deter you to actually get into cycling. Number 4 on my list is shifting and braking. Well, you want to make sure that it goes through all the gears, and how many gears there may be, 1 by, 2 by up front, but you want to go through all the shifting and make sure it hits all those gears. And also give an inspection of the cables and the housing, as well as the chain rings, looking for wear and tear on here. See if there's scuffage and crookedness. A lot of visual inspection will save you a long run on actually what's going to cost you at the shop if it needs to be worked on. And the cables and housing up front are very important. And also, basically, shifting and stopping is your 2 major functions of a bike, right? That make sure those work for sure. Number 3 is you spin me right round, right round, right round. Wheels. You want to make sure that it is true, so the rim is not going back and forth and up and down. By doing that, you can spin it. Also, you want to make sure it runs smoothly as well, and there's no play in the hubs when you look at both wheels, front and rear. Also, inspect the tires, see if there's any wear. That's going to be an expense if they need to be replaced. Also, if the rims kind of do one of those things, you might want to walk away, because wheels can get pretty expensive on that. But yeah, you want a smooth ride, right? Make sure number 3 is wheels are definitely checked. So number 2, can you test ride it? You want to make sure you got yourself a helmet to go for this test ride. Always safety first, right? But you want to be able to go on the bike and give it a whirl around the neighborhood, make sure it shifts actually under pressure and actually slows down and stops. Take a light and polite. Don't go out there and hot dog it when you're on your first little test ride on a bike you don't know anything about. But you definitely want to get on it, go for a spin, go through the gears, that kind of thing. And if it's suspension, make sure it's working for you as well. A test ride is also going to give you that snapshot of how that bike's going to feel when you're actually out there on the pavement or dirt roads or what have you. So test ride is very key. If you can't test ride it, walk away. It's not worth it for sure. Guarantee you. And number 1 is size. Well, what size of the bike, and also the biggest question is, what size do you ride? There's definitely a lot of resources out there. Like Bicycling Magazine has a size chart for various hybrids, mountain bikes, what have you. You definitely want to know what size you ride. That is the most important thing, because if it's the wrong size, you're not going to have an enjoyable experience. And actually, it kind of would maybe hurt or also not be comfortable to ride. In addition to, if it's too big or what have you, you may get an accident and get hurt. Safety first. So size. Well, what is the size? Well, size is usually measured in this range here. So if they don't have a frame sticker and so forth, this guy's like a 48 or 50 centimeter for road. Sometimes it gets really kind of tricky when they say small, medium, large. So look at those size charts. And if you're looking at a specific brand, like this is a Kona, look up Kona size charts or Specialized size charts or Schwinn size charts. And look up those size charts and see if that particular size of frame is going to work for you. Because they can vary between brand to brand to brand a little bit. So you want to be on the best case scenario of the size. And there's a couple measurements. So if they don't know the size of the bike, you can ask them to measure from the top collar to the center of the crankset. And I'll give you some inches or millimeter or centimeters of what that frame size is. And you kind of can do your research. The more you put into the research on the size of the bike and what you're going to be able to ride, the better. Because that's going to determine what kind of experience you're going to have. And if it's going to be an enjoyable experience you're going to get into later on. It's one of those things, all brands are a little bit different, so you're going to have to do a little bit of homework here, more so than the componentry and the wheels and all those little technical tidbits. Size is the biggest thing, for sure. There you have it, the top 5 things to ask the seller when you look at those listings in either Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or eBay to get an assessment if this is going to be the bike for you. And another 5 things to look for when you're actually there looking at the bike to make sure it's safe to ride and fits you correctly and will possibly give you the best experience possible of getting into cycling. Hopefully this will help you take the scary out of used. There's great opportunities, but keep in mind, even most bikes that are sold used still need a little bit of work, so you're going to have to put a little bit of extra money into it. So make sure that's part of your budget when you are looking for those used bikes. But anywho, hopefully this helps you out for getting into cycling, and I hope you enjoy those adventures. And if it's nice in your neck of the woods, get out there and go ride. Have a beautiful day, and thank you for hanging out with me in the garage. Practice makes perfect, right? Take 5. Yeah, okay, take 5 on 5 checklist. That makes sense, right? Right. Hold on, gotta wait for the trash truck to go by. Yeah. There it is. You'll see it here in a minute. Shooting on a Wednesday, right? Just can't get around it. Always comes when I'm trying to shoot a video. Yeah. There's my stinky trash. There it's going. Bye-bye, stinky trash. I get about like 3 minutes before it comes back around, so yeah. There we are.